through the airwaves and all around the world. You're listening to Mr. Scott's podcast.
I'm Mr. Scott from Mr. Scott's podcast, and I hope you guys are doing well out there. I'm doing pretty good, just trying to stay cool because it's a hot, hot day today. Just been over here kind of bobbing on a sugar-free popsicle. And why am I sucking on a sugar-free popsicle? Well, I'm an old man. And I can't dump full bags of pure cane sugar in me like I used to when I was 20. The older you get, you gotta watch your sugar. Got flavor, a lot of flavor in it, and just a really yummy little treat. But anyways, enough about that. Today we're gonna be talking about God the Creator, and how believing in God is logical, reasonable, and even scientific. I've kind of put together like a short, brief little study here with some key points, and we're gonna go over that. Believing that God created life is not only biblical, it's logical, rational, and consistent with observable reality. When we compare this with secular explanations that life came from nothing, the biblical worldview offers a far more reasonable and coherent foundation for life. Life, purpose, and design. While we can't put God himself in a test tube, we can use scientific methods to study his creation, and all the evidence points to a creator. Yes, it does. Let's go over the first point. That's good. That's a good sugar-free popsicle. Alright, we have the biblical account of creation. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." So here we have the Bible, and it opens up with this direct, profound declaration that God is the source of all things. The universe, the earth, the life, and man, these did not spring from chaos or chance, but from a deliberate act of an all-wise and powerful creator. Makes a lot of sense. Alright, point 2. Creation makes logical sense. Secular theories, such as the Big Bang or evolution, they propose that everything came from nothing. Order came from chaos. Life came from non-life. Consciousness came from unconscious matter. These ideas defy the most basic principles of logic and observable science. I mean, no one has ever seen nothing create something. No one has ever seen life emerge from non-life. No one has ever seen random processes produce complex, intelligent design. And yet we see design everywhere. From the human eye, to the ecosystems, to the DNA code. It says here in Hebrews chapter 3 verse 4. Let me take another bite of my popsicle. That's good. That's real good. Okay. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 4. It says, "For every house is built by someone, but he who builds all things is God." So, just as a painting demands a painter, and a building demands a builder, creation clearly points to God the Creator. It says here in Romans chapter 1 verse 20, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." We all have enough evidence just by looking at God's creation. We're all basically without excuse. Okay, let's go to point number 3. Food. Let's consider a simple example like food. If man was the product of random chance, how could nothing have known that his body would require vitamins, minerals, and calories to survive? How would random atoms coordinate to make sure that fruits, grains, and vegetables grew on Earth just in time for man's arrival? And yet we read here in Genesis chapter 1, verse 29, God said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food." Okay, so this shows intentional care that God gave man his food. A loving, intelligent God created man and prepared the world and everything he would need before placing him in it. I mean, this makes far more sense than the idea that food and man both randomly evolved in perfect harmony by coincidence. Come on, people, let's put on our thinking caps. All right, let's take another bite of this popsicle. That is so good. Point 4. Science confirms a designer. True science is observable, testable, and repeatable. What do we observe? Well, we observe order in nature, finely tuned laws like gravity and physics, etc. Irreducible complexities, such as the human cell. We observe DNA, like a written code. Codes and orders don't come from chaos, they come from intelligence. And if you claim or believe that codes and order come from chaos, you might not have that much intelligence. You know, come on, we're all smart enough to know this stuff, that, you know, things like DNA, the human eye, ecosystems, I mean, just the creation, everything that we see around us. I mean, come on, to really think and believe that it just sprung into existence from nothing by random processes over billions of years. I mean, beauty out of chaos. Come on, this is fairy tale stuff. This is fairy tale stuff. But the truth is right there in front of all of our faces, slapping us in the face with like a humble pie. You know, everybody knows the truth. We all know there's a God, but some people deny him. Some people run from him. Some people call him names. But it doesn't deny the truth. Okay. I'll continue once I swallow this big ice cream chunk. Psalms chapter 19, verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Point 5. Man has a purpose. If we are merely all the result of random processes, then life truly is ultimately meaningless. But God's word tells us in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, that God created man in his own image. So we're not accidents, we're image bearers. And that truth brings dignity, responsibility, and hope. Okay, so we're going to bring this podcast to a close. I've got just a few closing remarks here. To believe that nothing created everything is neither scientific nor reasonable. But to believe that an all-wise and powerful God created life, sustains it, and gives it purpose is not only biblical, but logical and reasonable. When we observe the world around us, the food we eat, the bodies we have, the order of nature, it doesn't point to chance, but it points to a creator. And that creator is the one that we can read about in the Bible. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Word made flesh, Jesus Christ. Sure, the world has been marred by sin, and as a result, we can see death, disease, and destruction. But even in light of this, it does not take away from the reality of God's creation. Though humanity has been separated from God through sin, we can be reconciled back to God through Jesus Christ, who came to earth in the flesh to die for the sins of the world. Moreover, we have the promise of God to create a new heaven and earth as an eternal inheritance for those who believe in him. 2 Peter chapter 3 verses 13 through 14 says, "But according to his promise, we are waiting for a new heaven and a new earth, where righteousness dwells. Therefore, beloved, be diligent to be found by him without spot or blemish, and at peace." So, I hope this short study was a blessing to anybody. God truly does love you. I'm Mr. Scott from Mr. Scott's Podcast, and until next time, God bless.